If you're an app developer, you know that testing your app is an essential part of the development process. And a big challenge when testing is being able to see how your app behaves on different devices. That's where Android emulators come in. Android emulators allow you to test your app on a variety of Android devices without having to own them. So, in this video, I will show you how to set up the Android emulator for good performance. I will also help you understand what option to choose when creating new virtual devices. As I explained in this video, an Android emulator is a useful tool that comes with Android Studio. It allows you to run and test your Android apps directly on your computer. But to be able to emulate different types of devices with various specifications, you will need to create Android virtual devices. By definition, an Android virtual device, AVD, is a configuration that defines the characteristics of an Android phone or tablet that you want to simulate in the Android emulator. So, based on this definition, for setting up an Android emulator, we will first need to install the Android emulator tool and then create at least one Android virtual device. Now, for the best experience, it is recommended to run the emulator on a machine that meets the following requirements: 16GB RAM, 16GB disk space, and a 64-bit operating system. But keep in mind that these specs are only recommended and not required, which means even if your PC doesn't meet these specifications, you may still be able to run the Android emulator, but it probably won't be smooth. Normally, the Android emulator is installed by default during the Android Studio installation. However, some components of the emulator may or may not be installed or may need to be updated. To verify that all the tools for the emulator were installed, go to Tools, SDK Manager, then select the SDK Tools tab. Here, you need to make sure Android emulator is selected. Also, if you are using an Intel processor, make sure that Intel x86 emulator accelerator is checked. For AMD processors, make sure that Android emulator hypervisor driver for AMD is checked. Now, just click Apply to install the newly selected components, or OK if they were already selected. Now that we are sure the emulator is installed and updated, we need to create at least one virtual device. To do so, we will use the Device Manager, formerly called AVD Manager. You can open the Device Manager either by clicking this icon in the toolbar or by going to the main menu, Tools, then Device Manager. This window is where you can manage all your virtual devices, but we will not spend much time here today. The Device Manager will be a subject of a future video in this series. I will add the link in the description below when this video is published. For now, let's focus on creating the virtual device. To create a new Android virtual device, you just need to go to the top left corner and click Create Device. As mentioned earlier, an Android virtual device is basically a configuration that defines the characteristics of an Android device. So, in this window, we have a list of predefined device types, size, and resolutions that we can choose as our virtual devices. Therefore, depending on the features of your app and how you want to test it, you will have to first choose a device type in this category list. Then, in this section here, we have a list of predefined device Android profiles. Some of those profiles are based on real device specification, and some others are based on generic devices. If you have a specific Android profile that you want and cannot find it in this list, you have different options. You can either create your own Android profile, import a previously exported Android profile, or clone an existing profile from this list and edit its characteristics. So, if you choose to create an entirely new Android profile, you will have to enter all those characteristics like screen size, resolution, memory size, and more. But instead of creating a device profile from scratch, I always find it easier and faster to just clone an existing device that is the closest to what I want, then modify its characteristics. For example here, if we choose Pixel 4, we can right-click, then clone it. Now, we only need to change one or two properties, like changing the name and setting the RAM size to 3. Click Finish to go back, and as you can see, we have a new Android profile in the list now. Before moving to the next step, one thing that is important to pay attention to is this Play Store icon here. It means that this profile comes with the Play Store app pre-installed. We will get to this in more detail in a future video in the series. Now, let's click Next. Here in this window, we need to select a system image for our virtual device. A way to understand this is to consider that in the previous step, we selected the hardware characteristic of the virtual device. Now, we need to select the software. For that, we have here a list of recommended system images with their target Android version. If you see a release name that has a download icon next to it, that means you will have to download this image before you can select it to use in your AVD. Now, on those two other tabs, you have a more complete list of images that you can use. But keep in mind, the Android team recommends you to use an x86 system image on an x86 host for better performance. Another thing to consider when selecting an image, as you can see here, is to select an image that has Google API included to be able to test the Google Play service features of your app. If you are unsure what API version to select, you can click here to open this window that will show you the different API levels with their new features and cumulative distributions. That means if your app minSDK version is 17, 99% of the devices out there will be able to download it. But if the minSDK version is 31, which is Android 12, only 13.5% of the devices out there will be able to download it at the time of recording. Keep in mind, there is a difference between minSDKverion and targetSDKverion. For more information on those concepts, check this video. The link will be in the description below. Now, let's go back to the recommended tab and select one of the system images, then click Next. Here in this window, we can verify our configurations and also set some default options for our new Android virtual device. And if we click on Show Advanced Settings, we even have more options. For example, for the camera, we can choose to have an emulated camera or the webcam of our computer as the emulator's fourth camera. And for the network, we can choose a default network speed. We can also specify the boot option, cold boot or quick boot. Now, depending on the hardware profile you have selected, some of those options will be enabled or disabled. In our case, we selected the Pixel 4. And since the Pixel 4 doesn't have an SD card slot, the SD card is disabled here. Now, let's click Finish to create the virtual device. As you can see, our new virtual device is created. Let's launch it by clicking on this play button. Since this is the first time that we are launching this emulator, it will do a cold boot. This may take some minutes depending on your computer's performance. The next time, it will do a quick boot. To learn more about the difference between cold boot and quick boot, watch this short video. In a future video in this series, I will show you how to install and test your app on the emulator we just created. Don't forget to leave your comment below about other aspects of the emulator you would like me to cover. Please like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.